Hello, my name is Elise, or Cafe and Misery, and today I'm going to be talking about one of the decks that I've been having the most fun playing out of DZ-BT-13 Periodic Clash. That being one of the brand new Fantôme units that doesn't have its counterparts. Its original version yet. The Piercing Thunder Dragon Alphard Fantôme. This is the epitome of a Timmy deck, in my opinion. It does one big attack, and if your opponent has the out, you're just gonna lose. Except, maybe not. The deck is relatively consistent, all things considered. It still puts out good power and halfway decent removal. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Starting with Drag Rider Red Key, which is important because it is a Fantôme, and Thunder Hermit Gerbitor, who, when rode upon by Fist Battler of Lightning Scale Blagette, you check the top 7 cards of your deck and either pick a Fantôme or one Crimson Moon card from among them. Reveal it, put it in hand or shuffle, and if you don't reveal a card, you'll soul charge 2. Moving into our grade 2, we've got Blagette, who, when rode upon by a grade 3 unit with Alphard in its card name, if your damage zone has 4 or less cards, you'll put the top card of your deck in the damage zone face down. And if you put a card at the end of that turn, you'll pick a card from your damage zone and put it into hand. This does mean if you inexplicably go to 5 before 3, that still just doesn't happen. And of course, the reason that will be relevant, though, is the Piercing Thunder Dragon Alphard Fantôme himself. He's got 2 skills, an Act ability and Auto ability. The Act for Soul Blast 2, he'll get 3k for every card in your damage zone. And as long as the damage zone has 3 or more cards, you get to pick one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. And if you don't retire a card, your opponent has to discard a card from hand. So this is removal or hand destruction, which is very powerful. And when he attacks a grade 3 or greater unit, you can bind 1 or more Crimson Moon cards from hand, soul, or drop, up to 4 because that's the maximum you can have. Until end of battle, he'll get a critical, and if you bound 4 or more, it'll also get 10k and another critical and another drive. And if you Persona Road, your opponent can't call Sentinels to Guardian Circle that turn. What this means is your Persona Road turn, if you have the 4 Crimson Moons in rotation, this will be, assuming you're at 5 damage, a base 48, 3 drives, 3 critical with no Sentinel. That's not including any other boosters or any other power increases. That is insane. Before we go into the units for the deck, let's quickly go over to the moons I'm on. I'm on Enveloping the Planet is a Crimson Disease, which is the rare moon versus the double rare moon. It's got 3 abilities. One that is countered as the Crimson Moonlight, the double rare, and can't be bound other than by the cost of Phantom skills. That it cannot be moved from the bind zone or chosen by any player's card skills. And you can put it into drop from the face-up damage zone and put the top card of your deck into the damage zone. When you play it, and it can be played as long as you have Fantôme Vanguard, you'll check the top 5 cards of your deck, pick up to 1 card from among them, reveal it, and perform one of the following based on what it is. If it's a unit card is greater less than or equal to Vanguard, you'll call it. Or if it's Crimson Moon, you'll put it into hand. The only difference is that Crimson Moonlight, if you didn't reveal a card, you'll get to draw a card after you shuffle. I opted not to do that because, honestly, you're probably going to be calling something off it 9 times out of 10. And the extra draw, in my opinion, is acceptable to lose, especially because I am trying to keep the deck at just enough so you don't deck out. Moving into our grade 3s, of course, we're on 3 Persona Rides and 2 copies of Recurrence Dragon, which, first off, on Rare Guardian Circle, as long as you have a Fantôme Vanguard, becomes a 10k Interceptor as a grade 3, and in drop zone, when your opponent's rear guard is retired during your main phase, or if your opponent discards a card during the main phase, as long as you have a grade 3 or greater Alphard, you can Energy Blast 3 and call him to rear guard circle, and you'll get 3k for every card in your damage zone. All of that, when you do this, you'll get to take a card from drop, put into soul, so you get to recur your soul. And lastly, to round out our grade 3s, my regardless piece of choice is Bracing Angel Ladder, which draws a card, goes to soul until the end of the opponent's turn, you'll get, during your turn, all your Vanguards get +5, and all your rear guards cannot be chosen and cannot be put other than onto rearguard circle by the opponent's card's effects. The reason I'm on this is because this soul busts to every turn, so you're going to kind of want to build that up. It draws another card deeper, and most importantly, you have one multi-attacker in the deck, and I don't want that dead. Moving into our grade 2s, we're going to start with our multi-attacker, the Gamma Rays Dragon, who, during your turn, as long as you have a grade 3 Alphard, it'll get +5, or +10 if the opponent's Vanguard's grade 3 or greater also. And when your grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Alphard attacks, as long as another rearguard didn't stand already in the battle phase for a counterblast, you'll get to draw a card and restand him. On with that, we're on 2 copies of Drag Ritter Habitable Zone, who is the Moon Searcher, Moon Cycler for Dragon Empire. When discarded for riding from the red deck, as long as you have a Fantôme Vanguard. For Soul Blast or 3 energy, you get to search for a Crimson Moon and add it to hand. And when put on Guardian Circle, as long as you have a Vanguard that is a Fantôme. For CB1 or EB3, you get to draw a card. Very standard skill, very immediate cut. On that, we've got 2 copies of Drag Ritter Mardau, who, when placed on rare, as long as you have a grade 3 or greater Alphard, you can counterblast 1 and retire one of your opponent's rear guards and give him +5 for the turn. And when he attacks, if you have grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Alphard in his name and your damage zone has 3 or more cards, he'll get +5, so he will be a 15 to 20k beater. And rounding out our grade 2s, I'm on Drag Ritter Migzad, the Dragon Empire Ace, who, on place on rearguard circle and then during the battle phase, it'll get +5. EV3, draw 1, pick an opponent's rearguard circle until end of turn. All of the cards on the chosen rearguard circle lose their abilities and cannot get them, and you will put those units into drop. On that, when he attacks, if the opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, he'll get +5 until end of battle. If the opponent has no rearguards or the rearguard left the rearguard circle by a card's ability this turn, it'll gain another 5. He's mainly in here for more removal and the draw. Going into our grade 1 lineup, we're starting out with 3 copies of Drag Ritter Nearman, who, on place for a counterblast, you get to check the top 7 cards of your deck. Choose up to 1 grade 3 or greater card from among them, put it in hand and shuffle. If you don't reveal, you'll countercharge 1. And as long as your opponent's rearguard is retired or bound this turn, she becomes a 13-game booster. This is really important because you need to be seeing your Alphards, especially for the kill turn with the Fantôme skill. Along that, we've got 4 copies of Stealth Fiend Shenri, who, when she boosts, as long as the opponent has 1 or less rearguards or you play an Aura this turn, she'll get +5, and at the end of the battle, you can purge a soul to draw a card. This is really important because it's soul generation and drawing a card. We are digging for those moons. The only reason I'm not on the draw one is, again, and you are always going to have a hit in this deck. Even if it's a trigger, it's a beat stick still, honestly, in my opinion. This deck's kind of for fun. Along with Shenri, we've also got 4 copies of Drag Ritter Epicil, who, when you're the rearguard in the same column as this unit stands during the battle phase, as long as you have a grade 3 or greater Alphard, you can stand him and get +5 until end of turn. And at the end of the battle, he boosts. As long as you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Alphard in its name, and your damage zone has 3 or more cards, you can put him to soul to draw a card. More soul generation, more card draw, and he'll be able to boost your Gamma Rays Dragon. Running out grade 1s, we're on 4 Sentinels. Lastly, for the trigger units, I'm on 8 critical triggers, 3 draw triggers. You want to keep digging, you want to see your combo pieces, and you want to see the moons. I'm on 4 heal triggers, and my OT of choice for this deck is the Spiritual King of Tempest Storm Vilarm, who, as additional effect, you pick one of your attacking units, it gets critical +1, drive +1 until end of battle. The reason I'm on Vilarm is because I think it's really funny, honestly. This is the epitome of a Timmy deck, in my opinion. This is you want to just go big, hit them with one really big attack. And nothing feels like that more in the OTs, in my opinion, than Vilerm, especially when you are killing your opponent's Sentinels. And that would bring you up to 4 drive, 4 critical. I just think it's really funny. You can definitely get a lot of mileage out of any of the other OTs, though. Literally all of them are actually insane in this deck. The only one that's like maybe kind of okay at best is Walnut, or not Nyx Azalea, I mean. But even then, that is an extra heal. And like, you're going to be wanting to take damage to increase these two's power. Going into the pros and cons of the deck, this build digs through the deck really fast. You've got so many cards that'll search out other cards in the deck. You've got so many draws. All of that, it's got really good removal with the one of Migdad, the 2 Mardows. Alphard's once per turn, which, if it doesn't have anything to retire, it's going to rip a card from your opponent's hand. Which is insane, especially going into the Fantôme skill turn, which functionally you can use as a divine skill, but you're not forced to in certain matchups where they might have a way to guard against it really easily. You can just bind the 1 to get a critical. It's perfectly fine, and that turns it to 4 turns of your Vanguard is a 2 crit beat stick. One of the biggest cons of the deck, though, is a little card called Elementaria Sanctitude. This unit specifies, the skill specifies that your opponent cannot call Sentinels from hand. So Sanctitude still works because it's a blitz order. If they have a way to call back a Sentinel and intercept with it somehow, look at some set 14 Rezael toolbox stuff, for example. That can stop it because it's not being placed from hand. Liel Morta isn't a Sentinel, so that just stops this deck entirely. And that's one of the biggest things with it, is that it has a very easy counter that your opponent sees the deck, they can just save it until then. And the Fantôme skill is, in my opinion, one of the most telegraphed skills in this game. It is on par at being telegraphed as Blankmeyer's divine skill, except that one actually stops Sanctitude. And yeah, your hard counter is a 1 of that. There's no real guarantee that your opponent will actually see it. And that's true. Anyways, did you know that that Kaikon can search it? That's a very specific example, but a lot of the decks in the current format can dig really nicely through their deck. They see you're on Alphard, they'll just dig to find it and hold it till then. But aside from that, this deck is super, super fun. It is the epitome of a Timmy deck. If you really want to just play a deck that is all about getting one real big swing in some other not too shabby swings, this is one of the best decks. And aside from the generics in the deck, that would be the Shenris and the Nearmens, and I think the Habitable Zones actually have a bit of a price tag. This deck is really cheap. Like, you could play the Good Moons, but that would add an extra like $100 to this deck because you need 4. But I really like doing this instead. And for that, the Nearmens are important because it lets you see the Alphard Fantôme or the Recurrence Dragon. This deck has a lot, honestly, going for it. It's just so telegraphed for its big kill turn if you're doing it like that. So most of the time you're honestly going to want to do the 1 at a time, even though that is not nearly as fun. But this is my Alphard list. If you guys like the video, you like listening to me, yeah, you think this deck's really cool, funny, all that jazz, do all the YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Ciao.